What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Star, and thanks for tuning in to this Marvel Rivals news update. Guys, this game is absolutely crushing it right now, and we've got some big ticket items to talk about in today's video. We've got some financials for Rivals, but more importantly, the game director himself just came out and promised new characters every 6 weeks. There's also an issue regarding bots in Rivals, and there's some players who think that they've proven the idea that there are bots in these matches, and we're going to go over that. And we're also going to look at the newest round of leaks coming out of this latest data mine, because there's some good stuff in there. You know where the like button is. Consider subscribing to the channel for more Marvel Rivals content, and let's get into the goods. Alright, so this game has been out for a little under a month and a half, and in that time, it's only gained momentum. Over the weekend, it hit a new all-time peak on Steam charts at 642,000 concurrent players, which is crazy. That's record-setting. This game launched very strong, and in the month and a half that it's been out, NetEase has been doing its best Scrooge McDuck impersonation and laughing all the way to the bank. They've raked in over $135 million in profit off of this game alone, in just the first month. This bodes really well for the future of the game. I think we've got a strong contender for a long-running success story here. This is more or less backed up in an interview that the game director Guangyun Chen had with Metro, where he talks about just the release of the game and the community's response and how the team feels about it. In that interview, though, the interviewer asked a pretty cheeky question regarding what we can expect the cadence of hero drops to be in this game, how often we should expect new characters and such, and the game director actually had a pretty cool response. He says every season we'll be rolling out fresh seasonal stories, new maps, and new heroes. We'll actually be breaking down each season into 2 halves, which they've already talked about with Season 1. This interview was conducted before Christmas time, so keep that in mind. The length of one season is 3 months, and for each half of the season, we will introduce a new hero. We just eventually want to continue to enhance the experience and keep everyone excited in our community. So that's confirmation right there that we're going to be getting a new hero in Marvel Rivals every 6 weeks, or roughly every month and a half. There were rumors that this 4 character drop that we're getting in Season 1 is kind of a one-off thing. Just because it's the Fantastic Four, we have to get 4 of them. But it sounds like every consecutive season from this point on is just going to get 2 characters, 1 in each half, which is still fine. I mean, 1 new character every 6 weeks is pretty fast-paced compared to other hero shooters like this. And this actually lines up with the leaks that we've already gotten. There's a couple heroes in those leaks that absolutely go together, like Valkyrie and Angela. It's all but confirmed that Blade and Ultron are going to be the 2 characters in Season 2. You know, there's also Emma Frost and Jean Grey, who are clearly going together. The hero pairs are pretty obvious in these leaks, so I think this is a good way to do it, with 1 character every 6 weeks. Not to mention, if we assume all of those leaks end up being true, that's at least 2 years of content for Marvel Rivals, and that's a pretty exciting concept. You know what's not exciting, though? Bots. Let me know in a comment if you think you've encountered bots in Marvel Rivals, because there are some players who've had suspicions, and one player specifically thinks they may have actually proven the idea that there are bots in this game. This concept isn't anything new. There's a lot of multiplayer shooters that do incorporate bots in matches. It's just kind of a bummer to hear that it could be going on in this game. But here's the lay of the land. So players think that they're being thrown into bot matches after they've taken consecutive losses. If you lose 2, 3, 4 times in a row, they're just awful games, you're getting dog-walked. The game has a tendency to put you in what I call pity matches, where it feels bad for you, so it's going to throw you against some bots who can barely shoot, and hopefully that will keep you engaged and playing the game and not rage quitting like I do. This isn't anything new. This has been a conversation in other multiplayer communities like Call of Duty for some time now. But it's mostly hearsay. Very rarely do we get definitive proof that yes, these are bots, or no, they're actually real players. In this case, though, we might actually have some definitive proof that there are bots in this game. Check out this clip. This was posted by Barky1616 on Reddit. I don't know if they're the original player who recorded this gameplay, but just check this out. The man goes by Squirrel Balls in-game. I respect it. But check it out. He's playing as Invisible Woman, and he's invisible, obviously, so the enemy can't see him. They're walking right at him, and they get stuck right here. The Hulk isn't even trying to smash his way through, which is basically unrefutable proof that this is a bot. All 3 of these are bots. The Atom Warlock, the Winter Soldier getting stuck here. They're not even trying to change direction. There's a Mantis there too. That's crazy. How are those not bots? Actually, let me know in the comments if you think those are not bots, because that is very bot-like behavior if you ask me. Granted, these anecdotes of bot lobbies, they're only showing up in quick play. It doesn't seem to be a thing in competitive, which I appreciate. I would actually have much bigger issues with this game if it were showing up in competitive mode, but it's not, so that's good. There's even ways to check if it's a bot. If you check the player's profiles, there's a couple of things that you should look for to determine whether or not it could be a bot. The first thing to look for is the level. All the bots seem to be set at level 1, so if there's a level 1 player on the enemy team, it could be a bot. The more damning piece of evidence is whether or not you have access to check out that player's profile. Human profiles all have quote-unquote limited access, but these bot profiles all have quote-unquote restricted access, meaning you can't even really look at all their credentials. So if you've got those two elements side by side, a level 1 account with restricted access, chances are very, very high that is actually a bot player and not a real human. I can't decide how I feel about this. On one hand, I appreciate that the game tries to give you some leeway, because the matchmaking, especially in quick play, is not very good. You'll either be doing the steamrolling or you'll be getting steamrolled, and there's very little middle ground. So on one hand, I can understand throwing you into a pity match just to say, okay, this game isn't all bad. On the other hand, the matchmaking shouldn't be so bad that it feels the need to throw you into a pity match. It also leaves the door open for players taking the wrong lessons away. They might do really well in that game without actually understanding why they're doing well. It's because they're not getting shot the way they would be with real players. I know my habits when I play games. If I take L after L after L, I'm usually turning that game off. And that's what Marvel Rivals is trying to avoid here. If you take those consecutive losses, it's going to say, okay, don't leave, hold on, wait, here's an easy lobby for you, please stay, please keep playing our game. Engagement is king right now, and the game wants you playing it for as long as possible, so if the algorithms detect that you have a tendency to turn the game off after taking, X number of losses, then it's going to try to fill those spaces in with easy lobbies so that you stay on the game. There's also the fact that steamrolling a lobby of bots is a lot better than steamrolling a lobby of new players, because if those new players get steamrolled, they're probably not going to want to keep playing, but bots are emotionless, unfeeling machines, so it doesn't matter if we abuse them, right? In any case, let me know in the comments below how you feel about the possibility of bots in Marvel Rivals. But the last thing to talk about in this video is the newest round of leaks coming out of this latest data mine. And these leaks are coming to us courtesy of XOX Leak on Twitter, or X. And X seems to be the theme because all of these leaks are potential X-Men characters, or at least characters from the X-Men side of the universe. As always with leaks, take these with some skepticism. There's no guarantee any of these characters are actually coming. The leaks have been extremely accurate though, so it does lend a lot of credibility to them, but again, just take it with a grain of salt. Going straight down the list, the first character on this list is Professor X, which really shouldn't surprise anybody. I mean, the leader of the X-Men has to join the game at some point, right? And it's said that he's going to be a strategist, which makes sense. Professor X would be a perfect support character. Unclear if he would be in his wheelchair or just walking around. I could see them do it either way, honestly, because we've got those flying characters like Storm and Iron Man, so they could give Professor X similar physics. He probably wouldn't be flying high in the sky, but he could at least be hovering and moving around that way. The next 3 leaked characters are a little bit more on the obscure side, and only die-hard comics fans would probably know who these are. The first one is Locus, who is also going to be another strategist. Her powers revolve around teleportation and visiting places that she's been before, so there's actually some cool possibilities for team-ups and team support abilities. She could maybe teleport herself and a teammate to a different part of the map and open up different plays. It could be fun. If they wanted to go with more name value, I think Nightcrawler would have been a better choice as far as X-Men characters are concerned, but Locus is still cool. After that, we have Paste Pot Pete, who I didn't even know existed, and he would be a duelist. This guy, I guess, is a former research chemist who invented this adhesive, gluey substance, and he went on a crime spree with his new suit, shooting that substance out of these guns. He'll probably be a very stun-oriented hero with abilities that freeze the enemy in place and glue them to the ground, stuff like that. After him, we have Jia Jing, who is currently going by the alias Sprite in the comics. No carbonation. And she'll be another strategist. It's actually really cool how these leaks are mostly strategists. But she's a fairy-like character who will probably be able to fly, same as Storm and Iron Man. I could see her being a very mobile support character, flying around and giving buffs here and there. But these last two should be very recognizable. Next up, we have Colossus, who is obviously going to be a Vanguard. He's one of the most iconic X-Men. He's in several of the movies. Everybody loves Colossus, and we could always use more tanks. We are also all but guaranteed to be getting the Wolverine team up with this guy. I could easily see him picking up Wolverine and throwing him the same way Hulk does. And our last character, anybody could have probably guessed it, it's Cyclops, who is likely going to be a duelist. And that makes a lot of sense. Dude shoots laser beams out of his eyes, causes big damage. I will happily take that. Looking at the list of 6 in totality, it's actually a pretty good spread. We've got 3 well-known names and 3 lesser-known names. I think that's a good balance, and hopefully they all play differently enough to keep the gameplay interesting. And if we take into consideration what Mr. Chen said earlier about dropping 2 heroes every season, 1 every 6 weeks, with these 6 leaked characters, this is 3 seasons total of upcoming content, so fingers crossed that we do actually end up getting all of this. There's no way they would do it back to back to back, right? That would be 9 months of X-Men content. That's crazy. I'm sure they'll break it up in some way. We'll probably get Cyclops and Colossus in one season, and then maybe Angela and Valkyrie in the season after that, so on and so forth. But guys, that is all the news that we have to go over today. Let me know in the comments what you think about this stuff. Leave a thumbs up on the video if you liked my style and the way I present the information. And don't forget, consider subscribing and getting notified to stay up to date with all future Marvel Rivals updates. Full disclosure, I'm not the best player, so this channel is not going to be doing tips and tricks or character guides or anything like that. I might dabble in it with the characters that I feel really confident in, like Penny Parker, but outside of that, it's just going to be news and updates. So if that's the kind of content you're looking for, this is the channel for you. But that is all I've got for you guys today. Once again, thank you for checking it out. This has been Star. Keep shining, baby.